Very few people understand the stock market. Football Index gives users the opportunity to trade and make money with something they love, the beautiful game.
Welcome back. This is the Love Sport Fans Forum with me, David Chidgey, a Chelsea fan. Him over there, Dave Seeger, an Arsenal fan. But I'll tell you what, between 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, Dave and I leave that at the door because we just concentrate on what's important, which is the beautiful game. There you go. I'm almost tearing up at that, actually, Dave. I'm getting quite emotional talking about that. I'm getting quite emotional about something else, actually, because I had Spurs down to win yesterday. And they let me down somewhat with that draw at Watford, but I can't...
Not at Watford, at Wembley.
They let me down against Watford, I should say. And they weren't at Wembley, they were at the new White Hart Lane.
Sorry, yeah.
Honestly, that's a double whammy, both of us, honestly. We should just retire now, mate, I think. You know, clearly we're on the one-way road to the dementia clinic. Anyway, the bottom line is, we've got a wonderful guy on now, Chris Cowlin, who's an author, blogger, and big Spurs fan. Now, I was disappointed because I had money at stake, but Chris had much more at stake than that. He had emotion at stake. But, mental game. I mean, you know, they were lucky to get away with it. The VAR decisions going all over the shop. Chris, please try and make some sense out of this game for me and Dave.
Oh, wow. There was nothing beautiful about the game yesterday, I'll tell you.
Fair point.
I spoke to many, many people in the pub before the game,
yeah.
And a lot of Spurs fans, including myself, was thinking that this is the game that Tottenham are going to turn it around. This is the game that we can start off, you know, by winning and go.
Was this after you saw the 7 changes, by the way? Can I just interject? Had you already seen the team news, or were you confident before you saw the team news?
In our squad, whatever team Pochettino puts out, it is more than capable of winning a Premier League game.
Yeah.
And more than capable of winning a Premier League game when the team is at the bottom,
yep.
Having only drawn 3 games, you know, not even one in the Premier League so far. So whatever team Pochettino puts out, you know, I do feel confident that we are going to win. And you know, when you're playing bottom of the table side Watford, struggling big time, and then when you go 1-0 down after 5-6 minutes, the stadium went quiet. Everyone just thought, here we go again. And it's just, you know, up to us now to show our character, grit, determination, everything like that. The belief that Pochettino always says that, you know, we must have. Must believe in the squad, must believe in him and the team. And it is very, very frustrating. And there are so many problems going on at Tottenham at the moment. And you know, I read a stat that game yesterday, our defence as a whole, the 5 defenders gave the ball away 91 times. That is an incredible stat in any game. But when you are playing a team that is struggling big time in the Premier League, 91 times, that is an incredible stat.
Chris, I'm going to ask something that you're probably quite surprised I'm going to ask you, but in my experience, which is I've been around the block quite a long time, and I see the media quite often, and I say this as a Chelsea supporter because it's often happened to us, but, you know, you get a team that's kind of out of form a little bit, a few things going on that are hard to explain, and I get the impression that they get fueled by an agenda and they start digging a team out. The reality is, mate, Tottenham are 7th at the moment. We've played, 9 games? You know, We're at the beginning of the season. You said it. You know, this is a team that got to the Champions League final last season. You know, they can't be that bad. So why is everybody throwing their toys out the pram? Why is everybody digging them out? Why is there all this Pochettino versus Levy warfare, players wanting to leave and all that? You know, we're not even a third of the way through the season yet. There was a question in there somewhere, I think.
Well, I think it actually started a lot. Yeah, no, it started a lot earlier than that, and because we got to the Champions League final, it kind of smoke-screened, you know, a lot of the problems in the Premier League. We haven't won an away game since Fulham, and that was in January 2019. That is 9 months ago. You know, you could have got your wife pregnant in that time, and you could have had the baby in that period of time. It's an incredible stat again. You know, 9 months not winning a Premier League away game. But yes, I think Pochettino is a fantastic manager. I back Pochettino. You know, when you think that we got to a Champions League final, you know, having not spent any money in 500 days, you know, the frustrating thing for me is that a couple of years ago, I think that we were very level with a team like Liverpool, squad, player to player. And, they went out, they invested a lot of money in the key areas where they needed to improve. And that's what we should have done. We should have, we stood still for that period of time. We didn't go out and spend any money. Yes, we spent money in the summer, but in my opinion, it wasn't enough. And now you've got players out of contract. You've got our whole defence, which I see is a big issue, because the whole defence is either out of contract or was talking to other clubs or want to leave. So that is a big, big issue at the football club at the moment.
So why? I mean, as an outsider looking in, yes, you're right. There certainly was a bit of papering over the cracks on the Champions League final run, but there was still a solid squad there. Did the fact that the manager came out and said, if we win this could be my last game, I felt as an outsider looking in, that was a mistake. That has to impact the squad, which has shown incredible togetherness. If you're saying, well, if we win this game, it could be my last game, it may be the end of the journey, surely that has to have an impact.
I totally agree, and I think that Pochettino, since the Champions League final, has been a different person. His body language, his comments in press conferences, he's been like a different manager for us. And I worry and I cringe every time he opens his mouth now in press conferences. He's completely different. He seems to contradict himself. After the Colchester game where we went out on penalties, he said that we'll sort the situation in January and we're going to spend money. And then the other day he said, no, we've got more than enough quality in the squad to take us forward, and we're not now going to spend any money. So we don't know what we're getting, and we don't know what's going to happen next. But all I do know is that we do need to start getting some results very, very quickly, because winning only 3 games out of the first 9 Premier League games is just simply not good enough. And it's not just about the results, it's the performances that are really, really worrying the fans at the moment.
And I feel, as a fan, Chris, I feel your pain there, and you're right. Once these things start to spiral and you get a bit of negative momentum going, it can get really, really tricky. I think, rather than address the individual problems, I mean, what do you do to get out of that? I mean, if Levy's the problem, he's hardly going to walk away. If Pochettino's the problem, is firing him going to be the answer? You can't buy any players till January. What do you have to do? How do you solve this? How do you get over this and start moving forward?
Well, I don't think at all Pochettino is the problem, and I don't think that sacking him or letting him go would be a good decision at all. For a start, who on earth would you get in who's going to do a better job than him? They can't come in and spend money suddenly anyway because of the transfer window. It's clear that Daniel Levy said that he wanted a lot of players out, and Pochettino wanted players out. They didn't go. They're still at the football club. January we do need to invest, and we do need to, certainly buy a right back. Now that is a big thing at the moment. Starting the season without Kieran Trippier there, despite the season he had last year, he should never ever have been allowed to go without a replacement coming in straight away. Tried Kyle Walker-Peters there. Serge Aurier is clearly not good enough, and he's a liability at times. And it's those problems, and there are just so many problems all at once. But as I said earlier, I do have faith in Pochettino to turn it around. But we do need a lot more investment than what we've had. And it makes it even more painful, the fact that we did get to a Champions League final. Every player in the land in European football would have known Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and the foundations that Daniel Levy and Pochettino have put in place. The fantastic new stadium, the training facilities, the great manager, great players that we've got there. It should have been a great time to attract some really, really big talent.
I think also the other problem you're going to have is, you say he needs investment and he needs a big January window, but we all know that Levy is not going to allow the likes of Alderweireld and Eriksson to go for free. So I would imagine both of those players will be made available in January. So not only have you got to invest, you've got to sell and invest, which is disruptive.
I totally agree, and it's going to be a big rebuild. It's frustrating, as I said, that a couple of years ago, if we'd have got 1, 2, 3 additions to the squad, we could have been up there challenging for the Premier League. Being around Manchester City and Liverpool equally. and it's kind of now we've got to go back and rebuild the whole squad. It's going to be painful. Pochettino said that. Pochettino said this even before the Premier League started. It's going to be painful. I don't think a lot of fans even listened to what he said. But when you're drawing 1-1 and just scraping a draw at a fantastic new stadium, against the bottom of the league side, I don't think people expected that. And we need this player reaction to happen sooner rather than later, because the next 4 games, we've got 2 Champions League games against Red Star Belgrade.
Big
the
games.
Next Premier League game is away at Liverpool, who just keep winning, regardless whether they're at home or away. And as I said, we haven't won an away game in the Premier League since January. So they're very, very difficult games coming up. So we do need to turn this around very, very quickly.
Chris, you've been absolutely brilliant, mate. I look, as a fan, I feel your pain, mate. We have to go through this so many times, and I hate how powerless we are to really do much about it. So hopefully things will, turn around at Spurs for you, and you can get some enjoyment out of the season, mate. Anyway, talking of getting enjoyment out of stuff, I'm afraid that our mate, my man, Twanzebe,
or whatever, he's not playing.
Very few people understand the stock market. Football Index gives users the opportunity to trade and make money with something they love, the beautiful game.